Are grocery stores really price gouging? I had a conversation with a guy who works at Giant's parent company. The way they decide the price of eggs is they tell a computer to look at what everyone else is doing and match it. Then if one of them raises the price of eggs, they all raise it. It's not based on how much the eggs cost the store or any reasonable metric. It's just how greedy is Kroger. We can be that greedy too? Bet. I read that food companies are price gouging, so I looked up the first major food corp that came to mind, General Mills. It posted a profit of $3.43 billion in 2023, down a bit from $3.47 in 2022. How that compares to 10 years ago. In 2014 they posted a profit of $2.95 billion. Ignoring inflation, that means they made just about $500 million more last year than they made in 2014. But if you adjust for inflation, that $2.95 billion in 2014 would be $3.83 billion today, so their profits are down around $4 or $5 million by that measure. However you look at it, though, they are roughly the same, no huge swing upward lately. It's actually been kind of up and down over the last decade, so as far as that one company is concerned, it would be hard to make the case that they are somehow price gouging, and that's why prices are up so much over the last few years. HTTPS. Grocery stores run on really thin margins and only make money by the volume. A few cents on 100 items is still a good bit of money. Food producers too. Mormon's one farmland owner in Florida, Bill Gates' two farmland owner in the country. Most subreddits Yao get downvoted for mentioning, but Bill Gates said in his book the cost gap between normal food and green alternatives needs to be addressed by making standard food more expensive. I'm the pricing coordinator at a grocery store big chain. I get pretty bummed out every time we have some sort of borderline evil price hike on something, but I can tell you it never happens without a reason, and the reason is usually that we're being charged more. But I can also tell you that sometimes we're charged more and the price remains the same. I've seen our sales and I've seen our profits. I'm almost sorry to say that it is not, in fact, supervillainy. That being said, I'm sure the higher-ups in corporate actually are evil, but at least on a basic what we pay vs what we charge level, it's not that heinous. The people who make the food more of a factor than the ones selling it. All I know is that in Florida, food prices are way higher than at home and why? Yes, profits cannot sustainably keep increasing. It's become expected that is what should occur. What used to cost me $12 at Kroger now costs $25. Not people just like to complain and need scapegoats. Everybody's price gauging and the government sits silent because we vote in these useless fools. Honest question for people who think there's rampant price gouging. Were corporations less greedy a few years ago? If so, why did they suddenly become more greedy? No, groceries are a notoriously low-margin business. You only notice it there because you see the end of the process. Every phase of food production and transportation has been hit with large increases in fuel costs. Public's prices are going through the roof, BC of shortages etc. But their profits increased by like 50 last year. Not rocket science to figure out, they are just doing what corpos do best. I believe that inflation is being driven on greed. Sure, the government screwed us by shutting down the economy and then dumping $5 trillion into the economy, but that's not the entire problem. Inflation was first blamed on the supply chain getting back to normal, but it's been several years and there isn't a shortage of goods any longer. Prices are high to sustain profits, cost of goods sold is very high, wages are up some not enough, and increasing government regulation is driving costs up as well. At this point inflation is like a runaway train. It will only stop when it derails. The government has lost control of the economy and there's nothing they can do about it if they even want to. Record profits mean richer CEOs that dump millions into campaigns and offshore accounts. Don't look for anything to get better anytime soon, and if it does it will only be temporary to sway votes for the election, and then we will kick it stuck back up our ass again. No, they are not. A business who gouged on prices would lose a bunch of their customers in a free market. The costs of the goods they buy and their utilities etc. have increased due to the expansion of the money supply. This is a question for are lobbyists out of control? No, inflation is due to too much money being printed by the government. Grocery stores are paying more for labor, electricity, repairs, and for the wholesale food they buy due to inflation. That's why prices are going up. Profit is also calculated after C-suite compensation and stock buybacks. Pretty easy to turn a 10% profit margin into a 2 on paper these days.